Hey everyone, this lesson is on beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate. So, a lot of the beverages we're going to talk about in this lesson have been shown to either worsen symptoms of an enlarged prostate or increase the risk of getting prostate cancer. So, it's best to avoid the following beverages. And I'm going to talk to you about what each of them does with regards to prostate health. So, the first category of beverages we're going to talk about in this lesson is alcohol. So, alcohol is one category of beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate because alcohol acts as a diuretic, meaning that it increases urination or frequency of urination. And it does this by inhibiting the release of antidiuretic hormone, also known as vasopressin. So, this is the reason why alcohol causes diuresis. So, because of this, it increases frequency and volume of urination. And because it increases frequency and volume of urination, it's going to increase and exacerbate the symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, which is also the medical term for an enlarged prostate. So, best to avoid alcohol. And drinks that contain alcohol are what you want to avoid, including beer, wine, and spirits, along with other alcoholic beverages. So, again, best to avoid alcohol if you want to reduce symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia or an enlarged prostate, because alcohol acts as a diuretic, increasing frequency and volume of urination. So it's going to increase those symptoms of an enlarged prostate like urgency and nocturnal urination or nocturia. So best to avoid alcohol. So the next few categories of beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate come from this article entitled Intake of Caffeinated, Carbonated, or Citrus Beverage Types and Development of Lower Urinary Tract Symptoms in Men and Women. So this can apply to both men and women, and oftentimes these beverages lead to increased urination, bladder irritation, those types of symptoms. So it increases lower urinary tract symptoms. So one category of beverages that is best to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate is caffeine. Because caffeine also acts as diuretic, so for similar reasons to why we want to avoid alcohol, caffeine acts as a diuretic, so you want to avoid it because it increases urination, including frequency and volume, which can exacerbate symptoms of an enlarged prostate or BPH. So you want to avoid drinks like coffee, tea, and soda pop. So again, caffeine, you want to avoid it because it is a diuretic. It increases urination, increases frequency and volume of urination. It's going to increase the likelihood of having lower urinary tract symptoms that are associated with an enlarged prostate. And drinks that contain caffeine include caffeinated coffee, tea, and soda pop. Another category of beverages that is best to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate is dairy products. And the reason is because high consumption of dairy products may be associated with an increased risk of prostate cancer. So there is some evidence that suggests that high consumption of dairy products, through its alteration in intestinal bacterial populations, can lead to increased risk of prostate cancer. So very interesting. And that is found in the article entitled Dairy Product Consumption and Prostate Cancer Risk in the United States. So it's best to avoid dairy beverages like dairy milk, cream, and other dairy beverages. So shakes that contain dairy milk, those types of beverages. So again, best to avoid dairy products because there may be an associated increased risk of prostate cancer with high consumption of dairy products. So it's best to at least limit your consumption of dairy products, and that includes dairy milk, cream, and other dairy beverages. Another category of beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate include carbonated beverages. And the reason is because carbonated beverages are known to cause bladder irritation. And again, it all comes down to the effect on symptoms of an enlarged prostate. So the bladder irritation causes increased urinary symptoms, including exacerbation of symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia or an enlarged prostate. So symptoms like increased urinary frequency and urgency, bedtime urination or urination at night, also known as nocturia, and issues getting started with urination, those types of symptoms. So it's best to avoid carbonated beverages like club soda, soda pop, and other sparkling beverages. So anything that is carbonated is best to avoid because, again, it causes bladder irritation. So again, carbonated beverages probably best to avoid or at least limit if you have an enlarged prostate due to their effect on the bladder. So they can irritate the bladder, and bladder irritation can cause increased urinary symptoms, including increased symptoms associated with an enlarged prostate. The next category of beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate include certain fruit juices. And when I say certain fruit juices, I mean acidic fruit juices. And the reason is because acidic fruit juices may irritate the bladder. And as we mentioned before in the last slide, bladder irritation can lead to worsened symptoms of an enlarged prostate, so increased urinary frequency and urgency. So what are some acidic fruit juices? These include orange juice, lemon juice, and grapefruit juice. However, having said all that, there is some mixed evidence here. Although acidic fruit juices may irritate the bladder and may worsen symptoms associated with an enlarged prostate, there is some evidence to suggest that juices like orange juice may actually improve lower urinary tract symptoms, as was mentioned in the article I quoted earlier on in this lesson. So the evidence is mixed here. I wanted to mention that acidic fruit juices may be a cause of worsened prostate symptoms. So if you do find that when you're drinking orange juice or grapefruit juice and you're having worsened symptoms, it may be the cause, and it may not be a bad idea to actually try to reduce or limit your consumption just to see if it actually helps. But you can actually find that a lot of these juices like orange juice and grapefruit juice have a lot of vitamin C in them as well, which has been shown to be beneficial in prostate health as well. So there is a little bit of mixed evidence here, but for completeness sake, I wanted to mention that certain fruit juices like these types of acidic fruit juices may actually lead to worsened prostate symptoms, but they may not as well. So if you want to learn more about other foods to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate, please check out my lesson on that topic. And if you want to learn more about other natural treatments for an enlarged prostate, please check out my lesson on that topic as well. And if you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell to help support the channel and stay up to date on future lessons. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.